I've been seeing once again, there's discourse coming up about pay rates specifically in the tabletop RPG industry related to writing and art.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of pay rates for some of the major publishers have been leaked
Straight
or
up.
published or told, and some of them are really, really low.
Yeah.
Tabletop RPG freelancing generally runs 8 to 12 cents a word.
I saw as low as 5 to 7 cents a word.
Yeah, and there's as low as 5 to 7 cents a word.
I would put a lot of ums in there.
This was all wrapped up in the concept of how much books cost.
Yeah.
And what do we do about this industry? So I want to touch on this because it kind of bumps into the Etsy economy we run into with independent creators. It runs into a lot of these things that we have been dealing with the last 18 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
mean, especially as on one side, we are a storefront and we want to be able to carry people's wares, but we also, as creators, want to make sure that those who are creating know their own worth and know the worth of their skill and experience as well. Which kind of puts us in a hard spot because ethically, right, we only have so many dollars to give, but we want to be able to get those things out into the world and share them with those we are selling to as well.
We've also had conversations with some of these creators, and this is going to button hook into where I want to go with this.
Let's go.
I remember this was pretty early in the store. You and I were talking to a creator, and we asked the creator, okay, how long does it take you to make this? And they were like 2 hours. And we said, okay, cool. So even if I bounce this out at $15 an hour, right, that's $30 for labor plus this for materials. So in order for me to pay you a reasonable rate,
came out to like $45 to $50,
right? But the problem was, in order for us to put any sort of margin on that,
right,
there was no way we could sell it.
I bumped it up to like $60. Yeah.
And we looked at it, we said, this is really, really cool.
Yes.
No one is going to pay $60 for this.
Not in an insulting way, but in an understanding the customers and how they purchase way.
Yes, yes, definitely not in an insulting way, but just in what they are willing to pay. This is the trouble we run into frequently.
Well, and especially with Etsy, like because of the competitive pricing on Etsy.
Because there are people who don't care about making money.
Right, because we have a lot of hobbyists on there, which, go do what you love, that's cool. But if you are not pricing your wares properly, that also means that you are also driving the market to not give other people what they're worth.
This is where I'm going to say it, but a slightly bit meaner than what Taylor's saying.
He's good at that.
Here's the deal. The reason that the freelance rates are so low, right, is because Taylor, who values, I'm just going to use your name as a thing, Taylor, who values her time and her art, she says this art is worth X. The problem is the corporations can move on to the next person because there is somebody out there
who will do it for less.
Who will do it for less just for the sake of, I want to work for
X corporation.
WotC, Paizo, whoever, right? Because they're willing to go that long, because there are people who are like, I'll do this as a side gig. I'll write 15,000 words and make, $1,500, right? Because I have a day job and I don't care and I don't want to turn this into a living and I'm willing to work for that, for the ability to be like, look, my name's in a D&D book, right? And because of that, the rates are going to be that low because there is more people who would love to do this and have their names in a book than there are jobs to have. And it sucks. And so the thing that I say to the hobbyists, and again, this is the part where I'll be meaner, when you price your stuff at a rate because you don't care about making money, what you're doing is you're hurting the artists and the creators who do want to make money, who want to turn this into a career.
Who want that to be a living wage, which we all know is very hard to attain here.
Right. So you're not thinking about the second and third order effects of what you're doing, and this is, again, particularly pronounced in the tabletop RPG industry.
Absolutely. I mean, I would argue it's pronounced in the artist industry as a whole.
Yes. But
TTRPG especially because of the rates that were released from WotC, right?
And Paizo.
And Paizo. I have been led to believe that Paizo...
I think Paizo raised them recently.
Yes. They have been making efforts to take care of their freelancers a bit better. But I also know that that was also on threat of a possible strike, I believe, at some point last year.
Paizo was in the process. Paizo has unionized.
Okay, that's...
So
okay.
this is where the next thing is. To my creators out there,
Bingo, Kelsey.
Here's what you need to do. The screenwriters have a guild.
Yep.
Things like that. You need to, if you want to do this, going on Twitter and attacking people and doing this stuff is not the way to do it. You need to form collective action.
Yes.
Right?
Together we are strong.
That is the only way. Now here's the thing. It's going to take a lot of you.
Yes.
You are going to have to get a significant chunk of the freelance writers out there who are working for these big companies to say, yes, I am willing to put my foot down and not work
until we are compensated
fairly. Right?
Yes.
And so that's the only thing that's gonna work. One of the suggestions we've made was raising the price of books. Now, I've been one of the people that's been I've said very loudly, I think AAA video games should cost $80.
Sorry.
With a caveat, right? That they have
AAA.
Yes, and that they have full QA and bug testing.
And that's
all the kinks.
Yes.
We're not waiting for like a release that will patch
I'm not talking about patch. I'm saying if you want fully functional AAA titles, you got to pay $80-$90 a title. That's where we are, because you have to pay people.
I paid that much for Cyberpunk 2077.
And this is where you also, again, everybody who gripes about microtransactions and things like that in video games, that's why it happens. It happens
to offset it.
They need to offset the fact that they can't raise the prices. Tabletop RPGs, the lines on those is even tighter, okay?
Especially with publishing.
Yes, okay, and especially with the big boys have decided this is how much we can afford to charge you for a game, MSRP. And so everybody else has got to kind of follow that market rate. And for everybody who's not a major publisher, that is a tough nut to crack from the margins, okay? Because the distribution system in tabletop is awful. This again goes back to what happened with Wizards, with the Magic cards, okay? This whole industry is kind of a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And it's built on a 60-year-old business model that doesn't really work anymore.
What? Are you telling me that systems that were made way back when don't work that great for now?
Yeah.
Kelsey, you're actually touching on something as well. Plus all of the stuff people don't talk about, advertising, manufacturing, art. We also have project management, making sure that all of your cats are corralled, editing.
By the way, tabletop
layouts.
RPGs require 2 levels of editing.
Yep.
You have to have a copy editor, and you have to have a developmental editor who's going through the rule set and reading your rules from the perspective of, does this make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay? And I'll tell you, as a writer, you cannot do that yourself, because the thing is that I know when I write a rule set,
it'll fundamentally make sense to your brain.
What I think it says,
yeah,
I know what I mean.
Yeah, so it's fine. But if you hand it to somebody, else who is not coming from that mindset, who did not write those words, they're able to pick it apart far easily.
Yes.
Far easier, and then also make edits to it that need to happen, especially for people like me who refuse to read rules because they don't make sense.
Now, the crappy part of this is then we get into the accessibility issue, right? One of the things that we talk about a lot, we hear a lot is, oh, it's so expensive to switch to a new game, right? To a new RPG. It's one of the biggest complaints. And I'll tell you, I do see a sales difference between the books that are costed at $30, $40, and $60.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I will...
There's a big difference.
Absolutely speak to, and this is only from what I have witnessed here, right? A lot of our indie TTRPGs fly off the shelves to the point where we don't have the stock for it. Like, we're out of a couple right now that we have to wait to get stock back in for. And we just have D&D sitting on the shelves at the same price.
D&D's...
That's sets.
D&D's going to start slowing down in sales, I think, once we get closer to
The
rules
1D&D?
update 2024.
D 5.05.
Nope, it's rules update 2024 for 5e.
Wow, that's so wordy.
I
I'm really
know.
glad that they're writing books.
5e.
Yes, it's advanced 5e, something like that. So here's the thing, freelancers. Y'all got to start working together.
Talk to each other.
You have to talk to each other, and you have to, again, you're going to have to actually organize.
Yeah.
Right? And realize that it is going to be an uphill battle.
Yes.
None of these companies are your friends.
It's going to suck, but it's going to be worth it.
You have to kind of make that run in order to get this to work. Because, again, there are so many people out there who dream of working in this industry.
And will literally sell the shirts off their backs in order to make it
Just
happen.
for the opportunity.
And just eat ramen in their one-bedroom apartment every night and just be happy that they're featured in a book.
Yep. So,
Which, I get it.
me too.
However, as I get older, realizing my worth, realizing what my work is worth, has been very empowering. It has been a big struggle. And if we can start making sure that those in the industry and those coming into the industry are able to do that a lot sooner, we can have a healthier industry as well.
And if you're an indie tabletop person and you've got something published that's not in distribution, bring it to us. We will sell it.
Yeah.
Right? I will sell indies. We do it all the time.
We just had a couple come in and pick up like 3 of the like DM-less TTRPGs and just sit down and play at the tables just on a random weekend. Like it, just
Super
because
fun.
it feels like it's insurmountable does not mean it is. You just have to make sure that you are talking to each other and talking to the right people to get your stuff out there.
We will take it.
Let's go.
I promise.
Oh, it says here on the internet that you haven't liked or subscribed or hit the notification bell, and that if you don't, the IRS is going to punch you in the dink.